Have you ever been in the middle of a project, maybe like you started a new career, new job, or maybe you're going to school and you decided to go a whole nother direction and you asked yourself the question, why? Or maybe was there people in your life, friends, family members, coworkers, who even asked you the question why? And maybe your answer was really clear, or maybe you were a little confused, or maybe you still don't even know your why. Well, today's live stream, I'm going to share with you ways to find your why. Let's get it.
Gotta take what's burning from deep down within out into the world so the healing can begin. Created for greatness, don't let anything get in the way. Realize with your real life, you'll affect the world in a major way. Time to make a difference and show the world what you're all about. Live life with passion, fire it up from the inside out.
Yes, yes, yes. Come on, y'all. Get fired up. Yep, get fired up from the inside out. Welcome to another live stream episode of FTIO, where we are all about inspiring change from the inside out. Now, if this is your first time on the live stream, thank you for being here. If you find any value in this video, do me a favor and consider joining the tribe and clicking subscribe on the link below. And if you're on Facebook, follow the page, like the page, so you can get notifications every time a new video drops. This is the quarantine series, as you can see in the ticker below, that I'm here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, again, it's important that you subscribe to the channels, because as things shift and as things start to open up, I still have to figure out what schedule is going to work best so I can stay connected with you. So subscribing would be super, super helpful so that we can stay connected no matter what happens after the quarantine is over. So yes, thank you again for being with me today. So in today's episode, now, I got a couple comments, and let me go ahead and bring those on. Good morning, Arlene. Yes, one of the faithfuls. Yes, from Sacramento. Joanne, welcome again. Good morning. Y'all are on a streak. Chavez, good morning. Yes, Arizona in the building, right? Arizona in the building. So thank y'all again for just tuning in with me live. So check it out, y'all. The question, or the title of today's live stream, is what's finding, or the ways to find your why. Now, let me just go ahead and preface this, right? And I'm not talking about why necessarily in versus, why and who you're doing this for. And I'm gonna talk about that today. But here's where it all started. And here's why this topic came up. So because of the quarantine, I wanted to stay connected, but being sheltered in place, not being able to do live events, not being able to, facilitate retreats and be with communities physically, I had to figure out how to still stay connected, right, virtually. So I have a YouTube channel. I've had this channel for a few years now, been on and off, just doing it when I could. And I decided, being that, YouTube is the #2 search engine, y'all, #2 search engine after Google, I decided, well, let me start back there. And so I looked at my channel, I looked at some of the videos, all the vlogs, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm doing what I can, but I said, you know what, if I really want to, increase this user experience, if I really want to stay connected and really give you, the viewers, better content, I was like, well, let me step my game up. So I started this YouTube influence channel with Sean Cannell and Think Media. I'm on day one. I'm taking some classes, and here's the crazy part, right? It's a YouTube influence. It's a YouTube influence challenge. But if you took the word YouTube out, like it's an influence channel. It's an influence challenge, meaning that all the things and the principles and the things that we're learning can be used in any way that you influence your group, right? And so we started with start with your why, right? Start with your why. And I started thinking about that for myself. Like, why do I do what I do? And now let's be clear, right? So there's 3 steps to it. And yesterday we were talking about Simon Sinek. So if you know who Simon Sinek is, shout out for, getting to know about that. I think it's called the Golden Circle. Look it up on YouTube. Definitely, really insightful on how we approach things. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you run a ministry, whether you are starting new projects, whether you're in a leadership role, whatever it might be, like knowing about this this inner circle, or not inner circle, this golden circle can be huge, right? So it starts with the outer circle is the what. It's like, what do you do? And then the next layer is is how you do it, and in the core of it all is your why. And so just for today's example, I'm going to use my what I've been learning like with YouTube. So what do I do on YouTube? Like, what is my whole goal? The what is inspiring change from the inside out. Notice the branding is starting, I'm starting to rebrand. I'm just making this little pivot, right? I've always had from the inside out, but now just adding the two words, inspiring change. Right now, it's like, oh, it's starting to come full circle. So that's the what. I can be very clear. Like, what do? I inspire change from the inside out. That can cover mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, academic. It can, it's leadership. There's all these things that it can encompass. But ultimately, that's the what. Now, how I do it. I'm gonna do it through live streams, video content, interviews, storytelling, music, right? Podcast, all that's the how. And then at the core of it is the why. Right. And so at the core of it is the why. And so I really had to dig deep because, again, I was all over the place and I had all these different reasons. And, I was confused even on my why at times. And so as I was taking the class and I was just pondering it and dwelling on it, I came up with a couple different ways to find my why. So I want to share that with you today. So first one, okay, first point, your why is not the same as who. So yesterday I did that post inspirational video. Your boy was like, whoa, I was fired up. I'm fired up right now. And right now I was talking about one of my whys was my wife. Well, really, why is not the same as who. So I know that we do this, we do these things for our kids, for our family members, for, our ancestors, for our parents. Like, that's not the same as why. So step number one, be clear. Your why is not who. Okay, now your who can drive you and be a motivation for you, but let's be clear here, in finding your why, it's not the same as who. Okay, so step number one. Number two, right? Number two, what are your core values and core beliefs? Like I said, that why is right in the core of it all. Right. So if we think about core values and core beliefs, that is what is going to sustain you. That's what's going to keep you going. I'm already jumping ahead. And let me just share with you my whys. All right, real quick. Servant leadership, paying it forward by giving it all back, and lighting up the dark. Yes, lighting up the dark. So let me just kind of take you through that. So number one, right? Servant leadership as a believer. All right. As a believer, I believe that, Jesus came to serve and not to be served. I'm reading a book right now called Lead Like Jesus, and it's using all of the leadership skills that he has and applying it to every aspect of my life, right? In business, in family, in relationships, in work, in school, everything that I'm doing. So when I think about servant leadership, I want to lead by my influence. Right. And I want to lead by my service to others. Why? Because I want to inspire change from the inside out through video, podcast. Right. And now you see how that's all coming together. So first and foremost, right, servant leadership. I want to serve. I'm here to be of service. Service before self-promotion all day long. Number two, paying it forward by giving it all back. So I always say to myself, the only way to prove to God that you got it is to give it all back, to give it back to everyone around you, right? Unconditionally. So paying it forward, we see that, right? People at the coffee line, Starbucks paying it forward. And that's great. But see, for me, it goes deeper than that. Right? When I first started realize the value of healthy relationships, that was inspired because of all the people who had my back. I believe that God put so many people in my life, right? Again, parents divorced when I was 3 months old, going through my go-through. I could have been a victim and I could have used all of those circumstances to live a life that would, be a life that's unfulfilling, right? But instead, God put these people in my life. My belief is God put people in my life, right, to help mentor me, to guide me, to love me unconditionally, right? Love me when I was unlovable, right? All those things. And so for me, because, and I believe that's why I am where I am today, because of those healthy relationships. I realized the eyes of my heart, all the things that God and all the people that God put in my life to make sure that I was going into the right direction. Now, of course, it wasn't always easy. It wasn't easy to hear. It wasn't easy to follow. And I didn't always follow. But now that I realize and look back, those people were there, right, to help get me to where I am today. So part of my core values and my core beliefs and my why is because I want to do the same for you. Yes, for you. Even if I don't know you, even if I'm just meeting you, and that's the beautiful thing. Even with this technology, YouTube, Facebook, I want this video. Like I want you to feel like I'm standing right there next to you. Now, of course, I've got a lot of energy, and you might be like, "Yo, back up, chill out, yo, bro, right, relax." But no, at the end of the day, I want the words that I speak to be this just a reflection of what was shared with me. I want to pay it forward, give it all back. And number 3, light up the dark. Come on, y'all. Let's be real. We live in some dark times right now, especially with all the access that we have when it comes to the internet, when it comes to media. That's why whenever I work, I work at elementary schools, public schools, private schools. I have no shame in my game. Like, follow me, and I'm not saying follow me, but like, on social media, right? Follow what I do because I want to bring positivity onto your stream. So anytime you're scrolling through and you see a post from me, it's going to be honest, it's going to be real, it's going to be vulnerable, and it's going to be somewhat positive, right? It's going to be some type of light that we have in these dark times, right? So thinking about that, right? Those are my whys, right? So when I think about why I do what I do, I want to serve others and be that servant leader. I want to pay it forward, giving it all back, giving everything I got back. Like yesterday, I said, I came into the world with nothing. I'm going to leave it with nothing. Like I'm not giving all these gifts and talents just to keep to myself. Because remember, a gift is not a gift until you give it away. Yo, your boy's fired up. And number 3, light up the dark. Bring your light into all those dark areas, not just of your life, but in the lives around you. How many times do we see family and friends going through their go through? And I'm not saying that you have to have all the answers. I'm not saying that you got to be Dr. Phil and give them, all the advice, but even just your presence, your smile, right? Your support, a hug. I mean, obviously not right now because of COVID, but all those different ways that you could bring your light and your positivity through a text message, through a phone call, or through a live stream, through a YouTube video. Like that is what drives me. That is what is at my core. That is what it is at my core, right? So number 1, recap. Your why is not the same as who. Number 2, okay, what are your core values and core beliefs? And let me just before I go to number 3, Chris Castro, cousin, good morning, rise and grind. Yes, sir. All day, every day. Good morning, Darren Blonsky. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing well. Larry, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, thank you for being on with me this morning, talking about ways to find your why. And then number 3, right? Because I like to keep things simple, right? So those are my whys again: serving leadership, paying it forward, and lighting up the dark. And last but not least, right? The question I ask for you is, what will keep you going, right? When times are tough and when things aren't going as planned, right? So when you're thinking about why you do what you do, for example, and again, I'm going to go back to this YouTube example, this project, right? Inspiring change from the inside out. Like my subscribers are low, and again, there's a lot of time and sacrifice that it takes to put videos together, to set up the live stream, making thumbnails, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes beyond, behind the scenes that go into making a couple minute video. But when things don't go the way that I'm hoping to go, like all of my plans are kind of thrown off, right? When we go back to your why, that's what's going to keep you going, right? That's what's going to keep you going. Because sometimes if we use the who, like a family member, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, and let's just say like y'all are beefing and y'all ain't seeing eye to eye, sometimes that takes the motivation away. You're gonna stop doing what you need to do. I mean, I know that as a husband, right, almost married 12 years, there are times where like I'm motivated to do my part around the house, and then when me and the wife just aren't on the same page, ain't seeing eye to eye, right, and things feelings start to build up. There are times where like I might not do the dishes like I normally do, or I might not do what other things around the house that I normally would do because maybe we're not seeing eye to eye. But again, going back to, well, why, right? Well, why did I get married in the first place, right? Like, and that's something that I'm here to serve. I'm here to pay it forward. So then when I think about that, I'm like, nah, I got to do what I got to do, right? Because again, if we think about the who, and if we use our if we think about the who as our motivation, and confuse that with the why, it can definitely go a lot of different directions. So again, thinking about what is the why that you have. Like, what is the why that you have no matter what happens? And one of the examples through Simon Sinek that I was listening to the other day was, it's simple. Like, think about Martin Luther King Jr., right? Think about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for a minute. He didn't go around telling people what to do, right? Instead, he said, I believe, right? He believed in people. His why, right, was what caused, again, he wasn't the perfect person, right? Like, again, he wasn't going around telling people what to do, but he was sharing his why, and his why was that he believed. And so if we take that same concept and if we share our whys and it's a belief, people will follow, your why than your what. Right. So thinking about where you are in your life, what your mission is, what you feel your calling is, or maybe you're just not clear yet. Right. So those are the three things that I'm going to, leave you with today is number one, just thinking about for a moment what, why is not the same as who. And what are your core values and your core beliefs? Like, what are the things that deep in your core, deep in your spirit, deep, like deep within is at your very core? What are those things that you truly believe? And here's a key, right? It's not going to be easy. The process isn't easy, right? Even still, I'm still refining every day. I'm still, thinking about it. I'm writing it down because you want to keep it as clear as possible, because when your why is clear, then it'll make sense your how and your what, right? So when my why is clear, serving leadership, paying it forward, light of the dark, then the how I do it makes sense. And the what I do makes sense. But if you're not clear at the very core of your why, then all the other things are just going to be confusing. And I realized even with my YouTube channel, like there are times where some of my videos just don't line up with my core values. They don't line up with my why. Now, of course, I can share my personality, and do different things like, on YouTube. But again, it's like, I got to keep in mind, right? How is this serving others? How is the content I'm putting out serving the viewer, right? It might just be something I want to do. I want to post it because I'm having a good time. And we see that on social media a lot, right? There are people just posting random things. And I'm not, hey, I'm all about random acts of kindness. But what I am saying is that there are times where things can be confusing and unclear. So having that clarity, and the more clear you are with your why, then the how and the what are going to just make so much more sense. It's going to bring you that clarity, right? 2020, clarity, hashtag clarity, healing, and freedom was what I started with this year. And having clarity on your why is going to definitely, expose whether or not your how or your what even makes sense. So with that, y'all, I am again really excited to be on this journey with y'all as we go deep, right? As we go deep, my thoughts and my prayers is that what I share with you is truly inspiring change. And whatever change that is that you are thinking about, that you've been praying on, that you've been hoping for, that you've been waiting for, I'm praying that the content that I put out can do that for you. So again, if you found any value in this video, do me a favor, consider joining the tribe, clicking subscribe on the link below on YouTube, and then following and liking the page on Facebook. Again, I want to thank y'all for your time. I'm here Monday through Friday right now during the quarantine series. All right, during the quarantine series, and let me just put that down there. Let me get a couple more comments. All right, Darren, I appreciate you all day for your support. Definitely we'll get together and hopefully get a lifting session in at some point. I still remember that time we was lifting together, brother. You got mad heart. I appreciate you. Arlene, yes, no, thank you again. Thank you. Again, I'm not sure how long this is gonna keep going, but as long as I got my why, right, I'm definitely gonna have that drive. So have a blessed day, y'all. Remember, it doesn't happen until we remember to realize what I realize. Have a great day. Peace. Come on, gig with me.